approval of the agenda. Colleagues, are there any changes to today's agenda? I just want to make a correction. Item number 2, memorial minute for Associate Professor Amy Branzell. That should be an information item, not an action item. I just want to make sure we all take note of that. Hearing no other changes, today's agenda is approved. And our next agenda item, it is with a heavy heart that I would like to lead us all in a memorial minute for our friend and colleague, Associate Professor Amy Branzell. She is someone who has touched every one of our lives, even if some of you did not know Amy or work with Amy. She did touch all of our lives, and I will say more about that in a bit. But first, I want to read her obituary as it has been expressed by her family. I was really pleased to see some of you this weekend on Sunday at Amy's house. Her family was very generous to bring people together to celebrate Amy. It was a very relaxed atmosphere with drinks and pastries and whatnot in the backyard. It felt a little strange with the chickens having been rehomed, but it was great to be there at Amy's place once again. So I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to begin by reading the obituary as written and printed by Amy's family. I'll say a little bit of my own comments, and then I will ask for a moment of silence to remember Amy. Dr. Amy Lucinda Branzell, a beloved sister, daughter, cousin, colleague, teacher, and friend, passed away at her home on Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, in the care of her family and surrounded by her cherished pets. Amy had 2 cats, 2 dogs, and a number of chickens, and I'm happy to report that they have all been rehomed to loving families. Amy used she, her, and they, them pronouns, so the obituary and my reading of the obituary will pass back and forth between those pronouns. Amy's distinctive personality was genuine and honest. She was truly her own person, but she did embody many family traits. They were an exceptional reader, writer, researcher, says her father, Tom. Amy was an advocate for those who were underrepresented, noted Mother Kathy. She had a strong and bold voice with no tolerance for ignorance, Grandmother Peggy, aka Gray. Amy loved the outdoors, gardening, entertaining, says Grandmother Dorothy, aka Honey. They had an affinity for music and sarcasm, shared with her brother Mike, her older brother Mike, she looks just like him. Amy formed deeply intimate and loyal bonds with those she loved. They held a soft spot for Minnesota and California, 2 places where she spent formative years. Amy adored long conversations, often arguing her tenacious moral imperative to seemingly no end, exposing a generous and forever hopeful heart. She had a gift for connecting with young people and animals. Amy was loved by her nieces, nephews, and colleagues' children. They were respected by her students and honored by the UNM alumni with a faculty teaching award in 2017. Amy held a BA in history from the University of California at Santa Cruz and an MA in humanities and social thought at New York University. They were one of the first graduate students to earn their PhD in feminist studies from the University of Minnesota. Amy worked as an associate professor at the University of New Mexico, where they held a joint appointment in American Studies and Women's Studies. They were known for their groundbreaking contributions on the intersections of race, gender, and sexuality. Also in recent years, they became active in disability studies, inspiring their students to start the UNM's CRIP Liberation Student Group, UNM's CRIP Liberation Student Group. Diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer nearly 15 years ago, Amy emphatically refused to give in to the cancer. Her inspiring strength and courage was never in doubt. She was always optimistic and fought to the very end. I'll just add here that I know a number of us were expecting to see Amy this fall, expecting her to return. And when I expressed that to one of Amy's cousins, she said that Amy herself expected to return as well. A special thanks to all those in the UNM Cancer Center that helped Amy treat the cancer her way. Their intellect, love, and vision of true equality for all beings will leave a beautiful imprint on all of our lives. So I just want to add that Amy was an activist in every sense of the word, supporting her students both inside and outside the class. And it was through her activism that she also really had an impact on all of our lives, those of us here on screen today, and other faculty as well, because Amy's activism meant she also served on the Section B task force that is rewriting, that has been spent years rewriting Section B of the Faculty Senate Handbook, or excuse me, UNM Faculty Handbook. She also spent many semesters on Academic Freedom and Tenure Committee, protecting faculty rights. And Amy was also a co-founder and activist for UNM's first faculty union. So she has had a really clear impact on all of us and UNM's history as an institution as well. So I'd like to lead us all in a minute of silence to think about what I have shared with you about Amy, and to share think about your own memories that you have of her. Of course, feel free to turn off your camera during that minute. And I will let you know once that minute has passed. Thank you all for sharing in this memorial minute with me in celebration of Dr. Amy Branzell. formally transitioning somehow, I would like to, our third item on the agenda is approval of the April 25, 2023 minutes. Colleagues, do I hear any changes, corrections, modifications to the minutes from April 25? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Next item is the Provost report. Provost Holloway, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a tight schedule today.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you to Faculty Senate for the time, and congratulations to all the new senators as well. And thank you for the minute of silence for Amy. I think that was very important to do, so I appreciate that. So President Stokes couldn't be here today. She's traveling, and I'm actually heading up to Santa Fe this evening. So this is a combined President Provost report, and I'll just hit a few key highlights for you. So the most important thing that I know Garnet wanted me to convey was the announcement today of the 3 new Level 2 Grand Challenges teams, which are focused on child health, just transition to green energy, and sustainable space research. You may remember when President Stokes launched the Grand Challenges back in 2018, that the goal of these was to create really research focus areas that are meaningful and important for advancing New Mexico, and also truly interdisciplinary and reaching out across our university, including Central Campus, the Health Science Campus, the branch campuses as well. And these teams have certainly moved in that direction. You know, you may recall we had several Level 1 teams who were working on developing ideas, and many of those teams applied to be in the Level 2 Grand Challenges, and some other teams as well that had been part of the Level 1. And so the 3 focus areas, the 3 new Level 2 Grand Challenge teams, are child health, which is focused on addressing child maltreatment in New Mexico, and developing and operationalizing systemic data-driven approaches to address child maltreatment issues across New Mexico, really vitally important to us. The second is focused on just transitions in green energy. And really also, when you think about it, vitally important to New Mexico, a state that relies extensively on extractive energy industries, and really needs to think about how we make a just transition to a more green energy economy, and thinking about the issues of economic equity and opportunity, pollution reduction in disadvantaged communities, and particularly those that may be impacted as we transition away from those extractive industries. And then the third new Level 2 team is focused on sustainable space research. And these folks are really looking at the development of new technologies, new materials, new approaches to the construction and the creation of space exploration technologies. So think about, for example, how you use materials that you find on the moon to build structures on the moon. So really an exciting focus on what some are calling a economic adventure into a new area. And space research is really something that is very important in New Mexico as the home of one of the few commercial spaceports in the country. So we're excited to see these new Level 2 Grand Challenge teams taking off, and there will be a Grand Challenge and Team Science Day coming up in just a couple of weeks here, and so look for that and more about the launch of these new projects. Wanted to say a little bit about enrollment, and so we're pretty excited about where we are on student enrollment. As of this morning, we're up 3.75% compared to last year in terms of head count. We have, as of this morning, 3,642 new first-year students. That's the largest ever. We're about 2 weeks from the official census date. And so we'll see how that holds up, but I think we're pretty confident that we will see an enrollment increase over last year, and perhaps the largest first-year class that UNM has ever had. Breaking that down a little bit, we're essentially flat in graduate students in Albuquerque. All of the branches are up in head count with the exception of UNM Los Alamos. Gallup is up 10%, Valencia 8%, Taos 5%, and Los Alamos down about 1.7%. I'll mention as well that the area in which we see the largest growth in terms of a percentage is in the accelerated online programs, where we've gone from just over 1,000 to about 1,200 students. It's about a 19% growth rate. We're seeing, I think a lot of interest in those programs. That still represents a small fraction of the total UNM student population. 6% or so of the students are in AOP programs, but a lot of increased enrollment in those programs. So again, overall, currently about 3.75% up, and that's an encouraging thing. I'd like to thank a lot of folks who worked over the summer to put the classes in place for the very large first-year student body, as well as a number of sophomores who are actually moving into courses we might think of as first-year courses. So last year we had a number of new students who took courses in University College and may not have been ready for English or for college algebra and so on. And so some of those students are actually moving into those classes along with many of them being first-year students. We are seeing students place higher in starting their academic programs than we did last year. So that's also a good thing. But it was a lot of work for folks this summer to get those programs in place. Wanted to mention faculty compensation. And so this is something that we've talked about several times with Faculty Senate. So last year we did a study which showed that compared to for a university of our size and composition of faculty, you might expect our faculty compensation, salary and benefits to be about in the non-health schools about 16 million more than we're currently spending, and in the medical school it's significantly higher as well, and Dr. Zadonis may mention that, I'm not sure. But the bottom line is we know that our faculty compensation is well below what might be a competitive level for Research One universities, and so we want you to know that that's something we're constantly working on. This fall we injected something over $1 million into academic units specifically to address compensation inequities. And so we focused on units with a low salary per faculty level and with the largest gap, the largest competitive gap compared to peer institutions. And so the focus is in arts and science, College of Fine Arts, education, human sciences, and a little bit in the honors college. By no means is that done, right? And so we estimate maybe we address 7 or 8% of that total gap. And so we'll continue to work on that and as well advocate for additional compensation in the state legislature. We'll have a new report on what our salary gap is, hopefully towards the middle of September, maybe a little later. But we're planning to do that every year, every fall. We will do an assessment after we've done all of the kind of raises that we do in July, the state legislative raises, and those we negotiate with UNM, and then any additional funds that we put in, like this additional $1 million or so. We'll do another study so that we can see, okay, what kind of progress are we making? Because as we increase faculty compensation, other universities may be doing the same. And so we want to constantly update where we are. And then the last thing I want to mention before taking questions is in meeting with the operations committee last week, one of the members had, well, several of the members had come to a new student convocation, but one of the members made the point of saying that he really enjoyed it and how much fun it was. And it truly is a great event where students and their parents really get to celebrate being part of the University of New Mexico. And I should say that Nancy and her team do an amazing job with putting these events together. But really want to encourage you all to think about joining some of these formal events, new student convocation, graduation, and commencement in December, commencement in next spring. They're affirming to our work. So when you go to these events, you really get to experience the joy of the students and families who are either entering or completing their educational adventures. And so the ops committee especially wanted me to mention that. And Nancy is very happy to vigorously recruit you to participate in these events. And so I'll stop there and stand for questions.
So in order to ask a question, please click on the reactions tab at the bottom of your screen and raise your hand. But Provost Holloway will begin with, I saw Lauren had a question. If I can, or it looks like maybe Natalie, this is your question. Dr. Holloway, what is 16 million as a percentage of total faculty salary / benefits spending?
That's a great question, and I have that in a spreadsheet. If I find the spreadsheet before the end of this, I will let you know. I don't remember the percentage, so I'm going to try and look it up for you. And if not, we can share it back.
Thank you. No problem, Natalie. Any other questions for Provost Holloway?
There's a question in the chat, Chris.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
You want me to read that?
Please.
It's from Scott England, and he's asking, what can you tell us about the Mountain West Conference?
Well, there's a lot of exciting things happening in college football, aren't there? So I have to answer carefully. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, obviously, and a lot of conversations between the Mountain West Conference and schools in various other conferences. Certainly, there's a lot of the reduction of the Pac-12 to 4 schools has led to certainly opportunities, and certainly conversations are going to go on both there and with other schools as we see what opportunities this may imply for the Mountain West. You folks may know that Garnet Stokes is currently the chair of the Mountain West Presidents Group. And so all of the presidents of the Mountain West basically form the board of that organization, and Garnet is currently the chair of that. So we're very well represented in the conversations that are going on around realignment within college football. And so I can't be too specific, but I'll stay tuned because there's an awful lot happening.
I'll make just one more call for questions, and then I know we need to let Provost Holloway continue on his way up to Santa Fe. Last chance. Provost Holloway, I just thought faculty might be interested to know, well, that you're going up to Santa Fe to join President Stokes, and maybe you could explain a little bit about what you all are doing up there.
Yeah, so today, tomorrow, and Thursday morning is what we call the Council of University Presidents Retreat. The Council of University Presidents is the organization that represents all of the 4-year and comprehensive universities in New Mexico. Garnet is also currently serving as the acting chair of that group. But CUP really tries to let the comprehensive schools speak with one voice, particularly in Santa Fe and around issues relating to the executive and the legislature. That's proven very effective. For example, last year, well, 2 years ago, CUP made faculty compensation a top priority. We think that was one of many factors that helped get us that 7.12%. Last year, we made faculty compensation a top priority. We asked for 10%. We didn't get 10%, but what we got was very interesting. We got the 6% increase in ING funding for compensation, plus this additional funding specifically for faculty compensation that I referred to earlier. So CUP speaking in with one voice for higher education has had some really positive impacts. And that's worked much better than say 4 or 5 years ago, when we tended to go up there. And we do still go up and advocate for our own things, but we used to go up there and have no single voice for higher education. We all kind of spoke in a cacophony. So it's been really helpful for CUP to speak, come together and speak with one voice. Some things that CUP is particularly interested in at the moment, certainly faculty compensation is still important. Student basic needs are very much on the agenda. We're also hearing a presentation about how we might act collectively to recruit international students across New Mexico. And so those are some of the topics that we'll address. While we're there, we meet with folks from HED and from some of the legislative staffers and some legislators as well. So it's a good opportunity for us to get the higher education message into Santa Fe while coming together as higher education and crystallizing on our own joint priorities for the coming year.
We look forward to hearing about what you've learned from around the state. Thank you, Provost Holloway. Have a safe trip.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Next on our agenda is Dr. Douglas Sodonis, Executive Vice President for the Health Sciences Center. I just want to say really quickly that I really appreciate Dr. Sodonis being here because, as you all know, we don't just, as Faculty Senate, represent the Albuquerque campus, we also represent the branch campuses, and we also represent North Campus. So I really appreciate Dr. Sodonis being here today. And I hope our health sciences colleagues feel the solidarity over Zoom. Dr. Sodonis?
Great. Thank you so much for the invitation to come and speak. I'm going to speak a little bit about our strategic plan, and I've put it in our in the search there for you, so you'd be able to bring that up if you haven't seen it before. We had over 3,000 people provide input. We reached out to literally everybody at UNM, so many of you did help, and want to thank you for that. So I'm going to switch to share screen mode. And all right, so I always want to start off with gratitude for all you do on the Faculty Senate. We're grateful. We hope also the one university spirit for all. I was out Friday at our UNM Gallup campus, and we want to expand health science activities out there. And I was meeting with the Navajo Nation leaders and Zuni leaders and Indian Health Service and some of the local high school leaders as we try to make sure that we have good pathway programs out there also. So that building on the left is this is out-of-date photo by a couple months, so it's amazing how fast it's growing. We have about $1 billion of new things going up, and this is our 3-story College of Nursing, College of Population Health, but we've already outgrown it. I'm going to talk a little bit about our strategic plan and where we are now with implementation teams and how it aligns with our RPSPs. We also have been focusing every time we have a meeting on workforce expansion, since we have both faculty and clinical faculty and clinicians. And so there's a big push by the state for us being the only academic health center, how we're going to increase the number of physicians, nurses, pharmacists, health professional workers. But I mentioned a little bit about behavioral health, since I can't go anywhere in the state without that also being an issue, including on our campuses. Health equity is a big theme of our UNM Health and Health Sciences, and a lot going on in that space. Public health is a one university effort that we also see as hopefully a building on Central Campus. And just a touch on research and what's going on there. So to your right is our plan. If you get the PDF, you'll have the whole version of it. Each one of the sections has a one university component. We try to line it up with the state, since we are the only academic health center. I serve on the State Health Improvement Plan, the SHIP, and this comes from there. We definitely have a one university focus. It's not only part of UNM 2040, but every one of our priority areas has a accelerator looking at this. And that's where I think the Faculty Senate could help us. As you look through the plan, you may see opportunities that we didn't think about. So your role is very important to us, and I hope you take it seriously. Vision, mission, values: transform healthcare and health science, education, and research to improve health and health equity for New Mexico and beyond. We can't just clinicalize our way out. We need to have strong public health, address social determinants of health, adverse childhood events, multi-generational trauma. So probably nothing you would not expect in a health and health science area. These are our 7 big areas that through our process. If you look on the right, every academic health center major, where you go to Yale, Harvard, Duke, wherever, they're all going to have research, something on clinical care, and something on students. I think what helps put us in a different lens is that we also are focused on workforce development for the whole state, as well as for UNM Health and Health Science. We also put it, even though we have clinical, we put behavioral health as a big issue, again, for this state, huge. We also put health equity as a clear priority, including rural, Hispanic, Native American, and other underserved groups in that group. We also have economic development, particularly in biosciences and healthcare services and technology. In addition to those 7 priorities that you see in the green or turquoise, whatever those boxes are, you see the rows. And the first slide I showed you on those 7 areas has 2 of UNM 2040 priorities of students and advancing New Mexico. We just spelled out advancing New Mexico in a bunch of other ways. The bottom 3 here, sustainability, one university, and inclusive excellence, we see those going across all of those priority areas, in addition to the career development, communications, technology, and community engagement. So we're asking these, so we have implementation teams now with co-leaders and groups of faculty and staff, and in some case students, who are looking at these 7 topics on the top, the priorities. If any of you had an interest to learn more about any one of these groups, I would welcome your reach out on that. And these accelerators are trying to think of how to integrate across all of the 7 priority areas. So it's really a horizontal lens instead of the vertical one. We had Deloitte help us with our strategic planning process, and where that little arrow on the left is, it was April. And since then, we have our active implementation teams with project managers on all of them, and we've been prioritizing our focus. So as a small example, research, we've had some short-term victories by putting together a research advisory council. I'm a part of that. We have all our kind of lead members on it. We've agreed to put $2.5 million into data science. We're building up a career development and research office, and we'd love to figure out how to make collaborations across the campus there. We put in some extra funds also to build up our research grant application support for people who feel like they need that extra juice and maybe they aren't getting it in their division or their department. So we're wanting to make sure the grants get in a good way. We're re-looking at space, and we're re-looking at how we describe our F&A in a transparent way. These are all the projects. I'm not going to go through them. I'm going to get Rick a PDF of this so that you all can have the details, so don't have to write anything down. But basically, we got over $1 billion of projects, and these are different ones that are you might be seeing visibly, and if you walk on our campus, you'll see more. I want to make sure that I had an opportunity with you all to share about the Veterans Affairs UNM Strategic Advisory Group. We have it in all mission areas. This is not just for health and health sciences. So if your research or work, you care about veterans, we'd love to hear from you and see if you want to join one of our subcommittees. We are now moving beyond the first couple of we've had summits, we've created MOUs in a number of different topic areas. And right now, the hot topic this summer is the community-based outpatient clinics that are scattered throughout New Mexico, about 13 sites, and looking at how we can create pathway programs and more joint activities, clinical placements for our students. I don't know how you've been informed about the RPSPs. These are the ones we're doing in expansion of our health and health science, our comprehensive cancer center. This year we were only allowed 3 expansions and 5 new ones, and I'll share those. First one was on our cancer center. That includes our HPV screening to reduce cervical cancer, our poison and drug information center that provides tons of information based through our College of Pharmacy, and then our nursing expansions that are all lumped in one, both the grad and undergrad. So these are all 3 are important areas of our PSPs, and sadly we can only expand 3. So these are exciting because they're new. New means they probably won't get funded, but new means everybody came together and there was a lot of good synergy. So you may think one of these sounds interesting to you. Again, please let me know, because even if we don't get funded, it means a critical mass came together to put together an interesting plan. So one is on health equity. We would be expanding our HEROES program to more counties throughout the state. We would be creating an Office of Health Equity, and we would also be creating a Center for Hispanic Health and a Center for Rural Health. We do have a great Center for Native American Health, which is also trying to align with our clinical systems work in this area. We know AI is coming down the pipe, and so we've put together a proposal that would be both for training and developing curriculum that could be used anywhere in the state, but also to then bring that into a few pilot clinics. So again, if you're interested in that space. You might have heard of our Learning Environment Office. The LEO office provides support to students, but it's mostly been based in our School of Medicine, and this is funding to expand it to the other colleges. I was just in our dental clinic yesterday. we offer amazing care. We also have a dental hygienist clinic that short wait lists could get your students in if they need that. But the special needs dentist clinic, particularly people who have autism or that range of health issues, do need a lot of extra care, and most people in private practice don't want to get engaged with that. We have our own anesthesia, our own surgery. If it requires that level of work, it's on University as you go towards Echo and the 40. And this is to enhance that work. Now, here's two other exciting ones that we did together. The health science one is focused on education in primary and secondary, and we're partnering with the College of Education and Project Echo. The other one is for Center of Substance Use, and it links CASA and a number of the health groups that focus on addiction, including a clinical service of teleconsult to provide for across the state. Not only compensation, but just expansion is a big issue for us. There's so many shortages for healthcare workers. So every morning I'm waking up thinking how we're going to improve the health of New Mexicans here in New Mexico. And so you've got to have both the lens for what we need and what the state needs. We appreciate we need to recruit both from the inside as well as the outside of New Mexico to expand the numbers. We just can't develop a number through our training program. So we're looking at other ideas that we can do to expand that. We also know that we need to expand our research area, although we've grown nicely. There's a lot of activities going on around student and learner expansion, particularly in nursing, but we are being asked to do that in all our areas. And if we're going to increase faculty and students, we're also going to have capital. School of Medicine will need a new building, but it'll be after this year. This year, we're focused on the College of Pharmacy with an upgrade of all of their facilities. Faculty comp, topic that you all have raised. For us, it's particularly the School of Medicine that has the biggest impact. Everybody who's a clinical faculty works at least 20% on teaching, some up to 50%, and yet ING only covers 4% of their salaries. So we can't cover it with clinical revenue beyond the way we have. We're hoping that Medicaid funding, there are opportunities to get more from the federal system. So we need about $46 million to cover our academic gap. We also have low salaries, with low salaries in the past year rising up to number one on why people leave. Many departments are under the 25th percentile, and our goal is to get to the 50th. This fiscal year 23, most faculty got a raise except for the School of Medicine. There was no raise there. We keep increasing our residents and fellows. So these are people who finished medical school and now they're becoming a specialist, like in family medicine, internal medicine, surgery. And we've done extremely well of increasing that number, which is helpful for the state because as that number goes up, these are the people who right out of residency or fellowship can work in New Mexico and help our workforce shortage. We call this graduate medical education, and we're really lucky in this state for some of the support we get that other states wouldn't provide. We value our residents. Our faculty come here because they like to teach, and we've been able to achieve a 50th percentile mean national average using our AAMC benchmarks. And also that's something that we just continually are working on. These are some examples of things we provide for support beyond salary, but I'm not going to cover them. They'll be in your handout. Behavioral health is a critical issue in this state. It's in the state health improvement plan. It's in the governor's plan, and it's one of our key priority areas. We just started a partnership with the Metropolitan Detention Center this summer. This is a really huge deal, and we are now providing the healthcare in the jails. In the beginning, once we get stabilized the clinical services, we're going to be expanding our academic activities there, both teaching and research opportunities. So again, if there's an interest by anybody on this, or if you are affiliated with a group that might be interested in that one, I think that's going to be an important area. Our current 3 capital projects, we're building a new child psychiatry campus. We're almost finished with our new crisis triage center, which is for adults. And we are expanding our primary care to a new building and also integrating behavioral health in there. This also has to include prevention issues. Substance use, just as a reminder, nicotine and tobacco are really gateway drugs. So we also have the need in this state to expand the substance use services. And for this group, thinking about what are we providing for our campus students in this area of addiction, both prevention and treatment. In the past, I've worked at Rutgers, where we developed the concept of a recovery dorm, where anybody in there had to be in recovery. And people flew in from all over the country to go to those recovery dorms. And now in New Jersey, it's a state law that every university is required to have a recovery dorm. But who on this call cares about these topics? I don't know, but I'm just floating them by as, again, other topics of interest. Health equity, I mentioned a little bit briefly. This is the proposal that whether we have more funds through the RPSP process or we just do it on our own, we realize these are important areas that we still have to expand on. We are now in the process of planning for our 2nd annual Health Equity Summit. We had a great one, September 19th and 20th last year. We're looking at November-ish for this year's. Still time if you're interested to be involved in it. If you want to know what we did last year, please just put in UNM Health Equity Summit and you'll have a web page with lots of resources. We did health equity dialogues all over the state, and it was the 12 labs that you will see on that web page that came from the community. And we had community presenters in addition to the academics. We paid for people to travel from all over the state to Albuquerque for the event. It was seen as a terrific event. I don't know if any of you were able to attend that when we had it. Public health, we want our college to become a school. We got $10 million a year ago, and one of the big issues was recruiting new faculty. And in 9 months, Dean Collins has recruited 20 outstanding new faculty. It's really given us a boost in the arm for what we need to do. And now we need to get the $5.7 million recurrent funding to support all the faculty we have. These were the 6 deliverables that we had to address, and we've addressed them all. If you're interested in more detail, Dean Collins will be speaking tomorrow at 10:30 at the Cancer Center as part of the LHHS. I'll be speaking at 9 o'clock. We also wanted to make sure that the School of Public Health was really across all the campuses. And so there is a council, Executive Council of Public Health, that has members from all of these entities. I also think it's just as a reminder to all of us, on our journey, we're all somewhere on this curve. What are we providing? And so we're also having a strong look at this. Dr. Sood is leading our faculty academic affairs with Amy Levi's retirement. And he has a particularly strong background in mentoring, including getting NIH grants to study mentoring. So Hopefully you all know Akshay's work, but he's adapted the CEMER model from the University of Wisconsin for educating faculty on research careers. He's blended it in with some Project Echo and sprinkled a few red and green chili peppers on it. And we have a cool New Mexico new version that if you don't know of it, please reach out to him. Wellness has been a big issue for us pre-COVID when we had burnout issues amongst our faculty. COVID only took it up another notch. This is the Stanford model that we use, and we have a lot of programs in this area. Again, I can't imagine it isn't also an issue for the whole campus with all faculty as we come out of the COVID world. So what do we do for yourself? That's the bottom, personal resilience. What do we do as an institution for culture of wellness? And then the third is what's the pain in the neck of your job every day? What would make your job easier? Is it getting a contract through an office? Where are the problems? That also adds to our lack of wellness. Research, our last year, we've had our best year ever. It's 242 million we're up to. These have been our key 6 signature program areas for a while. We have 900 projects, et cetera, going on. So lots of opportunity, I think, for one university partnering. This probably shouldn't look new to any of you because you all are thinking about research career development for our faculty. So these are things that we're outlining as critical components, and look forward to learning more about what opportunities could be done together. So that's my email, although it's easy to find me that way. If you want to make sure staff are part of seeing it, the HSC EVP one works, so doesn't get lost in my email chain. So I'll stop at this point and make sure Finney asks me a good question, because Finney's always asking good questions. And in addition to Finney, there are probably some others. So
Thank you, Dr. Sedonis. Do we have any questions for Dr. Sedonis? Again, you can either put your question in the chat or use the reactions under the reactions tab, raise your hand. Steve. Steve Walsh.
you're on mute.
That's where everybody wants me to be.
Except for Finney.
Yeah, except for Finney. Finney likes me because I can sing. And other than that, that's it. So I'm at UNM Anderson School. I'm the head of technical entrepreneurship. My background is I'm a biomedical engineer. So if you're looking to partner with the entrepreneurship effort at Anderson, I talk to you, Raj Madho, also a guy named Robert Del Campo does a little. And so I'm the head of the innovation group and the New Mexico chair for economic development.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I've written it down and I'm going to definitely follow up. I've put some new resources into our economic development section, and we've actually, by splintering it out of research and moving it into a separate strategic priority, it's actually given a lot more visibility and focus to it. And now I have faculty who that's what they really are passionate about. And because it's often a long journey between something you're developing in a research lab and then finally getting it out in economic development. So thank you so much, Steve. Roberta.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I've started 5 biomedical engineering companies. Love to talk to you.
Awesome. Great work. Thank you. Hi, Roberta.
I was just curious about the physicians not getting raises and what the solution is to that, because if we're losing physicians, that's not good for any of us. So what are the plans to fix that?
Well, I think everyone's on board to try to help get our ING number up, because we can't cover 4% of our academic time only when we're doing 20 to 50%. So we've been tapping our clinical system that pays that extra amount But that also has limits, and that's basically where we're stuck. So the health system, like every health system nationally this past year, had a really challenging time. Our clinical operations were at 150% occupancy. Again, legally in the past, you could not go above 100%. And so that meant we had to hire traveling nurses. And as you know, those salaries are a little different for traveling nurses. So you're paying, you know, $3-4 million extra dollars a month to cover the traveling nurses' costs that eats into something. So we need to, we're hoping that, you know, we're down to 120%, but still above our norm of what we should be doing. But we all agree it's a priority, and it's figuring out how to pay for it. One other way is through Medicaid. There's somewhere between $1 billion and $2 billion that is being left in Washington, D.C. that could be brought here. And so we had a meeting at the governor's mansion Tuesday last week, and I was part of that discussion. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and this was a big focus. The whole day was focused on workforce, nursing, MDs, pharmacists, everything.
Thank you.
All right, Finney, I didn't hear your question yet.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna ask Finney to email you his best question, and anybody else who might have questions for Dr. Sedonis. And Dr. Sedonis, I hope this won't be the last time that you join us here on Faculty Senate. Make sure that the University Secretary's office reaches out to you and your office about our future meetings, so you can continue to keep us updated on what's happening on your campus.
Great.
Thank you so much for being
Yeah,
here.
I'd love to do it. Anytime you invite me, I come. So put me on your list.
Okay, September. We'll see you in September.
September. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Next on our agenda is the Faculty Senate President's Report. I'm going to keep my report short because we still have a couple of guests that I know you'll appreciate hearing from as well. First, I just want to thank all of you on the Zoom call that encouraged me to run for Faculty Senate President, first Faculty Senate President-elect. I appreciate that encouragement and your support, particularly my Ops Committee colleagues who continue to support me with their role on that committee. And of course, I want to give a big, huge, I should somehow, Rick, if you can pin Finney's square, make him big. But I want to thank Finney Coleman, our now past Faculty Senate, past president. Finney has not only been a colleague of mine in the Department of English, but a friend and a mentor. So I really appreciate all that Finney has done for me and for all of us on Faculty Senate and through his leadership on campus. So I go around explaining when I introduce myself to people, well, basically I'm the new Finney. So I know I have to stop doing that though, because I think it's just going to create disappointment introducing myself that way. Also, I want to thank you all for agreeing to your committee appointments. There will be more about that later in the meeting. I appreciate all of you faculty senators and those serving on committees, the support that you show both to students and faculty serving in this role, because it is where you know, besides our teaching and research, where a lot of the work of the university gets done on those committees. So it is important work. I appreciate you. I also think it's a great opportunity to meet colleagues across the disciplines. That's my favorite part of Faculty Senate, and learning from all of you about what you do. Finally, I will say, I almost hesitate to tell you this because we have such good attendance. I hope this doesn't cause a decrease in attendance next meeting, but I will have an action item for you at the end of this meeting. So yes, so I'm hoping that those of you who have your cameras off, that you're still engaged and paying attention. I know personally for me, it's much easier to pay attention to a Zoom meeting if I can also fold laundry or wash the dishes at the same time. So I totally get it. But I will have an action item for all of us. And that action we'll all participate in our September meeting. So please hang in there for that. So our next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. This is an action item. And there are 3 sub items on the consent agenda. We're going to take each one at a time. First, let me make sure. First, we'll take the summer 2023 degree candidates. I myself was a degree candidate, had to fly back to Indiana from New Mexico to defend my PhD. So I know how important that the summer opportunity is. Okay, thank you, Rick. These are our summer degree candidates, and I believe, Rick, you have a poll. So you're being asked to approve that list. And of course, new faculty senators, you'll be voting as well. I like the live moment by moment results. If only our national elections were as the return rate were as high. Great. How many do we need, Rick, in order?
Oh, we just need 26, so we're good.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll.
That means 19 of, okay. Awesome. Okay, great. Next, we have the curricula requests from the curricula committee, who always has a pile of work on their plate. So I want to thank our colleagues for serving on that committee led by Janet.
Okay, it passes.
Thank you, Rick. And finally, committee appointments. And I know sometimes there will be revisions to these appointments. We're voting on them currently as they are now.
It passes.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you all. Next item on our agenda is the new degree Bachelor of Science in Human Biology. Dr. Sherry Nelson from Anthropology is here with us to talk about this proposal. This is an action item. So Rick will have prepared a poll for us following Dr. Nelson's presentation.
Okay, thank you. We are proposing a new major, Bachelor of Science in Human Biology. This is a multidisciplinary program that offers courses through anthropology, biology, psychology, population health, and chemistry. We expect to provide a strong STEM education to our students, and particularly interest students interested in pursuing degrees in med school or allied health. We currently offer, as of a year ago, a concentration in human biology within anthropology. But we recognize that when people think anthropology, they think cultural anthropology, they think archaeology. They do not recognize the STEM branch of anthropology. Having said that, we have 9 faculty who have funds from the National Institute of Health and National Science Foundation, publishing in the top science journals. We offer a strong STEM degree, but students have a hard time finding us because they don't think of anthropology that way. And, you know, in talking with Jim McKinnell in pre-health advisement, you know, future graduate programs or medical programs, allied health programs, would have an easier time recognizing the STEM education our students are getting if it has human biology on the degree as opposed to anthropology. Human biology degree, BS degree, is a growing thing across the country. A number of R1 universities are offering this degree. It's wildly popular. In the proposal, I provide information from the top 10 programs. I mean, the very top is Hunter College in New York. In the year 2020, 2021, they provided nearly 500 graduates with a BS degree in human biology. When you look at the student composition of the students obtaining BS degrees in human biology, there are a lot of people who are normally underrepresented in STEM. The majority of students getting this degree are actually women and minorities. So here at UNM, we have a real opportunity to address underrepresentation in STEM and underrepresentation in the medical sciences. I'm not sure what else you want me to tell you.
Let me open it up to questions. Questions from faculty senators for Dr. Nelson? And I have a long wait time. I have a background in teaching English to speakers of other languages, so I'll wait. Dr. Nelson, maybe you could share with us what students are saying about the possibility of this opportunity.
Well, so we've only had our concentration on the books for a year, and we've got 24 students enrolled. And talking to Jim McKinnell, it would be reasonable to anticipate about 100 students within the next 3 years. There are about 600 students pursuing degrees hoping for allied health studies in the future. The majority of them currently fall in biology and biochem. It is potential that we could take a third of those students within human biology. The idea actually stemmed from discussions with Diane Marshall from biology department, who thought we could really provide the top education for students interested in allied health. Now, it absolutely meets the needs for pre-med students as well, but a lot of students struggling in biochem and whatnot, they don't necessarily need that to pursue all of the different potential careers that fall in this umbrella called allied health. Her idea is we could really approach that better. It comes at virtually no cost. I mean, as our enrollment increases, we would anticipate a few more GA lines to teach the students within our lab courses. We have a few of those, but we already have the faculty. All of the courses are already on the books.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great to know. I'll open it up to one last question while Rick pulls up the poll so that we can prepare to vote.
Chris, we need to have a motion and. a
Oh.
second.
Thank you, Nancy. She's just keeping me on the straight and narrow. Thank you. So can I call for a motion, Nancy? Do I hear a motion to approve the new degree
Yes, motion to approve.
bachelor?
Second,
Thank you, Cash. I appreciate you.
And I'll second.
Sorry, who was the
second?
Jason McConville.
Thank you. That'll be helpful for Rick. So any discussion? Okay, please complete the poll.
Oh, someone said Dr. McKinnell's replaced. Oh no, I love Dr. McKinnell. I have not met Dr. Craddock. I will have to do that.
I will reach out to you privately. Dr. McKinnell retired, so it's a very happy kind of replacement, but we do miss him.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
Well, I don't think we need to wait any longer with 91% approval. So congratulations, Dr. Nelson, to you, your faculty, and students.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Mhm.
Okay, colleagues, next on the agenda. I am so grateful to Benjamin Ferguson, the health promotions manager at SHAC on UNM campus, for reaching out to me and suggesting that he attend Faculty Senate in order to share with all of us what wellness resources we can offer for students. Benjamin, please, you have the floor.
So
Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for the time. I presented in front of 400 plus students, and I am more nervous now than I was when I did that. So, yeah, I got lots of jokes. So if you want to unmute so I can hear your laughter, that would be great. No, I'm joking. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't be nervous. I already messed up the motion thing, so.
So what I would like to do is I'm going to try and talk and drop links as I talk. So forgive me if there's a little delay in the link droppage, but my name is Benjamin Ferguson. So my title actually is Student Wellness Supervisor. Again, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be evolving as you hear me talk, because there's a lot of different things that are in motion here. So what I'd like to do first is just drop in my contact information, as well as SHAC line. So if that's something that you'd like to keep a hold of, if you ever want to reach out to us, and I'll get into a little bit of what we all do here inside of SHAC. I'm a proud graduate. I graduated in 2007 from UNM, so I've been part of the community for a very long time. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to interact with students, because during the time when I went to school, it was a lot different than what students have to deal with now, as it's post-COVID. More students, the high enrollment rate that we're seeing. So we're really in a really dynamic environment right now. And so we're trying to figure out how students view wellness. And so what we're trying to do is be diverse in our offerings for students. And so what I hope you all are able to take away is the different resources, the different events, workshops that we have available for your students. And if you want more clarity as far as like program descriptions or anything like that, you can always email me or call me. I would love to have a conversation regarding student wellness. One of the big things, and it was kind of like that, they do that Friday news dump on like major networks and whatnot, the Timely Care, and I dropped it in the chat. It is a free telehealth service for students. So As this service continues to evolve, so I just got the marketing packet today. So just to give you an idea of where we're at with this, it was a quick rollout. So I'm learning a lot of it as we go. Please do not think of me as the point person. I am not the point person on this project. So don't lump me in, okay? I'm giving you the message. Hopefully you find it beneficial. It is live. But if you have questions, I'm going to drop Dr. McIver, Stephanie McIver, our executive director, will be handling any questions that you may have in regards to timely care. But there are a couple things that I want to make sure that you as faculty members are aware of. It is a free service for all active UNM students. It's branch campuses, main campus, North Campus. Any student that has an active UNM email address, student and actively enrolled, they have access to timely care. They have to download the app, and when they download the app, they input their UNM email address to get access to timely care. With timely care being a telehealth service, it is limited in scope. So for example, they cannot, if they meet with a medical provider through timely care, they cannot prescribe a controlled substance. So ADHD is a medication that is hard to get a hold of and whatnot. That is a controlled substance, or the medication for ADHD is a controlled substance. So they will not be able to get prescribed for that medication. They would have to go be able to talk to somebody here at SHAC to be able to get that prescription. We do have 2 ADHD screeners here within our mental health counseling department that can help with that. If they want to set up an appointment, they can just call our number to be able to set up that appointment. Our counseling, the counseling by appointment feature that is listed in the email that you received on Friday afternoon, their turnaround right now is 2 to 3 weeks. Our turnaround within SHAC for counseling appointments, I talked to our director of counseling, they can be seen today or tomorrow or the next day. So there is a lot of availability to be seen in person here at SHAC. So there is this little bit of lag and catch up that timely care is doing, but we are trying to make sure that students are receiving the care that they need. Psychiatric services are only available through timely care to branch campuses. It is not available for main campus or North Campus students. They must be able, to be able to see a psychiatrist, they have to do it here at SHAC. Or any other entity that they already may have an affiliation with or prior history with. So if they want access to psychiatric services, only branch campuses have that access. All right. So those are just some of some clarity that I'm trying to make sure that everyone is aware of. If you ask me other questions on top of that, I may give you a very vague answer. So if you want to email me, please do. I would much rather give you a very definitive and clear answer. Dr. McIver would also be able to do that as well. We are learning a lot of things and on this rollout of timely care, but it could be a great access point for students. We talked about health equity, health accessibility. It's a great way to be able to have students, especially branch campus students that may not have access to healthcare like we do here in Albuquerque. It's a great resource for them to be able to utilize. For after hours care, for timely care, it's a great service because it's a 24/7 accessible service. That's great. But we do at SHAC also have 24/7 care service available. We have a medical line for after hours care, and we have a mental health care line available as well. So if you are talking to a student and they're, maybe in distress and maybe talking to you, you all have access to students that we don't hear a lot about. We talk to students and they're out in the sub or they're walking through Cornell Mall or whatnot. And we get them in a real small glimpses, real short glimpses. Y'all get to interact with them on a more intimate level. So if you are having a conversation with a student and, they may be voicing that they are in distress or whatnot, please feel free. You can refer them to timely care, of course, but with the downloading of the app and putting in information and all this other stuff, it may be a little bit quicker to be able just to refer them to SHAC. So I just want to make sure that y'all are aware of that as well. So if you're not completely aware of SHAC and all of that we have to offer, this is our website here. We're located right across from the Sub, right next to Johnson Center. This is our main page. You can check it out there. This is our counseling service webpage. If you'd like to go there and check it out, or we have a new intake process that we're rolling out for students. It's called OAT, one at a time. And so that students are taken care of. We are getting away from the triage portion. Their first counseling session with a counselor is a full counseling session. It's no longer a triage or intake visit. It is a full counseling visit with one of our counselors. So that's relatively new. The big things that I really want to talk about is our events that we have coming up for students. And I'm dropping in this link. This takes you to our promotional calendar, our event calendar that we have coming up for this fall semester. As of right now, including sexual health programming, mental health programming, physical health programming, we're right about 54 different opportunities for students to engage. So I'd like to thank the faculty member that did the scavenger hunt and sent students to look for the after hours care sign and the myths about counseling or mental health. I can't remember what the sign was, but really appreciate that. That's the type of interaction that we'd like to have with students. We had a lot of students that came through here that had no idea what we existed or that we offered all these different things. So thank you to whoever that person was. We really appreciate it. And what I'd encourage you all, if any of these events sound relevant to you or something that you feel like your students may need, send them our way. We want to take care of them and make sure that they have access to mental health care that may be a little bit more informal, so like a group setting. And so these are what we're trying to do with these various events. We're trying to be topical and relevant with the health topics that we do address in these different educational outreach programs with these various workshops and whatnot. And it's a great way for us to just develop relationships with students that may not have existed before. I pride myself on wanting to develop these relationships with students so they have a person that they can always come and talk to, whether it be regarding the medical care, the mental health care, whatever it might be. We like being the point people to be able to point them in the right direction as far as what resources are available for them. All right, let me drop in this workshops list here. Just so you all can see, these are our mental health workshops. Included in these mental health workshops are QPR, our suicide prevention program that we are offering. We've been doing a lot of these QPR trainings for RAs, for different student groups throughout campus. If that is something that you personally are interested in, we have that available. I know Employee Wellness does a similar training. It's the same exact type of training, but if you are at all interested and may meet your schedule and your schedule demands, you can check that out as well. We have free STI testing on Tuesdays here in SHAC. We have free HIV testing on Wednesday, every other Wednesday in SHAC. So if there's a student at all concerned about anything, you can always refer them to us. I don't know why they would want to talk to you about that, but if that comes off in some random conversation, then you can always refer them to us. Or if you'd like to locate it or create a resource guide within your syllabus, it's a cool way to do it as well. So last couple things here. I just want to make sure that students and you all are aware that we have a podcast. And so if you're hip and cool and want to talk to students about wellness, you can always reach out to us and be a podcast guest. So if that's something that you're at all interested in, and if you're hilarious like I am, then come be on our podcast. We're always looking for guests. It's a lot of fun. Great way for you to maybe reach a different demographic that other than what the students that may be studying whatever your educational path is. So it's a really cool way to be able to do that. We're continuing to gain followers all the time, but if it's something that you're interested in, just shoot me an email. That'd be a really cool way for you to get to know more students. And the last thing here, in regards to students that may not have access to insurance. That's a big thing that we continue to try and get more information out for students. We have a new position. It's an insurance navigator position. Their sole purpose is to be able to help students find insurance, whether it be through BeWellNM.com, whether it be through the Medicaid process. We do have someone here at SHAC that can help them figure that out. Right now, their hours are from Monday, Wednesday from 9:30 to 4 o'clock. They are a student, so we try and help them with their schedule because they're doing us a huge solid. So, and hopefully help the students as well. So that information is there for them. The link I sent you has an appointment link. So if there's a student that has a question about it or anything like that, you can always refer them to the Insurance Navigator page as well. It's a lot of information. And I saw a question regarding the privacy practices and policies of timely care. That would be a question for Dr. MacGyver. I wish I could provide you an answer on that, but I would point you to Dr. MacGyver and I will put her, and I do have her permission, I promise. I'm not just like scapegoating or anything like that. But this is her contact information if you would like to shoot her an email. We are fielding a lot of questions for timely care because it's surrounded around healthcare, and we are the healthcare center here on main campus. So it makes a lot of sense. But with the quick turnaround rollout, we are trying to field all these different questions, updating resource guides for various departments and whatnot. So we're still learning about the whole thing and how it's going to interact with us here at SHAC. But it's really exciting. It's a great way. It's free. It's for students. It's a great way for them to access healthcare. So yeah.
Benjamin, before I ask faculty if they have any more questions, I know for myself as a faculty member who teaches both face-to-face and online asynchronously, do you have something that you could put together for faculty, maybe highlighting some of the programs or resources that you think faculty might not know enough about or students might not know enough about? And if you could put something like that together, either in an email or a flyer or a QR code that we could easily attach to an email or use as something to discuss with students face to face, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I thought about doing that and I was just bogged down with other things. I was hoping that if there was something that maybe spoke to you and you just wanted to grab that hyperlink, you can do that as well. But I can absolutely put some sort of impromptu resource guide available for faculty members that they can distribute, or if whatever y'all would like to do with it, you're more than welcome to do so. I know there's a lot of information, and if anyone has any questions regarding any of our wellness initiatives or SHAC, you're more than welcome to ask.
I think we have time for one question in case anyone has anything else besides Nair's question. Okay, well, thank you. Seeing none, thank you, Benjamin. Really appreciate your time, and I'm so grateful that you reached out. And it's nice to put a name and a face with SHAC so that we know who we can reach out to if we have questions.
Yes, please. I highly encourage it. And even if you want to just come and grab coffee with me, I would love to have a conversation with you.
Great. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye. Colleagues, next on our agenda is Dr. Jennifer Jordan from the College of Libraries and Learning Sciences to talk about open education resources and why this is important to us. Dr. Jordan, thank you for being here.
So I'm not a doctor, I'm an artist. But I have an MFA.
Sorry, artist Jennifer Jordan.
Yeah, but that's cool. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to you all about open educational resources. Today, I am the OER librarian in the university libraries. And so the problem that we want to address through the open educational resource program is the cost of textbooks and how it affects students. Since 1993, the price that students are paying has gone up while state revenue supporting students has gone down. So they're shouldering the cost of a lot of, oh goodness, I don't know why it did that. I was trying to be fast because yeah. Okay, I'll go back. All right. So students are told to budget. Let me see. Let me go back. All right. Back to slide 3, sorry. So tuition and fees is about $11,000. This is from the admission page on the UNM website. Housing allegedly is $10,000 a year, but I bet it's more than that. Books and supplies, students are told to budget about $1,300. But what the National Association of Bookstores says students are actually spending on their textbooks is about $400. Why the difference? We did a survey at UNM and we sent surveys to 5,500 students and about 315 answered. And they also were in this space where they are allotting less money to purchase textbooks. And then also, so this is a slide that's like probably the most important. We asked students how the cost of course materials is affecting students. And so there were 315 students. Over 100 said that the cost of textbooks made them experience difficulty to meet their basic needs, things like food and housing. 93 of those students didn't purchase a required textbook. 50 earned a lower grade in a class because they couldn't afford the course materials. 38 took fewer courses. 34 didn't register for a specific course. 27 withdrew. 18 changed their major. The lack of textbooks can also affect students' sense of belonging in the classroom. If they don't have the book, they feel excluded in more than one way. So we have open educational resources. The initiative has been going on for a couple of years. I started, I'm the first OER librarian, actually, I think in the whole state of New Mexico, and I started last year. And so this initiative has been created to help students afford college. This fall, we're pushing out our open textbook pilot program, and the mission is just to save students the largest sum of money. We also have $100,000 in state funding to give to faculty to support them. They can apply for stipends, grants. They could also, so I'm going to have a page later that you can pull up and you can see how faculty could, pretty much you're going to propose if people want to apply for this program, how they want to spend the money that they're requesting. The program's also meant to support faculty because adopting, adapting, and creating OER is a lot of work. So I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it and act like OER is the solution to everything, because integrating it into your course takes a lot of time. So this is a QR code that you can check out, and it'll bring you to the main page of our OER grant program. And it'll bring you to a LibGuide, and you can find out the details of this program. But so basically faculty can apply for grants, $500 to $10,000. So like the $10,000 range would be something like a department wants to apply for funding for maybe like a whole course, maybe a gen ed course to transition into OER, not specifically gen ed courses, but we want to go with we're going to have a committee to evaluate proposals, and we'll want to fund programs or proposals that are going to impact the most students, like financially, and other ways as well. And so the criteria are on this website. So kinds of projects that we're going to fund: adopting. So you could just straight up, like a publisher would give you a book that you adopt, or you have to students have to purchase it. But just adopting an OER can take more work because you don't get those ancillary materials sometimes that help to make your life easier, like test banks and things like that. So adopting the course might take extra work. And so you can apply for that. The deadline to apply is October 1st for this first round. So we're going to try to do this regularly, but right now we just have this chunk of money that we need to give out before the next fiscal year. Other ways that faculty can adopt these materials: they can adapt them. So say you have a book, but it doesn't address everything. Depending on the license of the material, you can adapt it, make it appeal more to your specific students, to the outcomes of the course, to their level. You can also apply to create a textbook. To meet the needs of your course, you might have a bunch of different books you want to put together to create one OER for your class. You can apply for that, or you can just create it straight from scratch if there's nothing out there that could be used for your course. But there's a lot of OER material that's out there. So first example at UNM, our first year composition students in the fall of 2023. This is an example of a department joining together and helping to their students with the specific course. So all the first year composition students are now using an OER. It replaced the publisher book. The book costs $27.50. $96,000 students are saving in one semester. So that's amazing. What they did was, this was part of our soft pilot. About 8 teachers worked together to pull materials and create one whole OER. And I can put that link to that so you can check it out. So openly licensed materials, this presentation could take hours. So I'm going to just fast forward through this. All rights reserved. So this is traditional copyright. Openly licensed materials usually have a Creative Commons license. So the creator of the material still has their copyright. It's still their intellectual property. But if you put these licenses on your work, what you're saying is people who access the material afterward and want to use it, they have more permissions. So you could adapt the material. You could keep redistributing it without violating copyright. These little symbols are signifiers telling you what you can do with the material that's Creative Commons license. It's a little bit confusing. So lucky for you, there is an OER LibGuide that you can check out. You can also make an appointment with me if you want to learn more about Creative Commons licenses. There's 6. And I could talk about these for a very long time, but I'm going to go fast forward and let you see how you can find out more on your own. So we have these LibGuides, unm.edu. Let me see if I can, no, whoopsies. I'm going to put those in the chat. So we have the open textbook program. There's a process to apply for it. So who's eligible? This is also on the website with the QR code. So we are able to fund non-standard payments to faculty who hold the rank of lecturer, assistant professor, associate, full, graduate students, or graduate assistants. So the way this program is designed, that is what we are able to fund. So any type of those faculty can apply or ask questions. Also have faculty who are maybe professors who want to work with graduate students and kind of do a whole sort of working together collaboration. Like collaborations are encouraged. And if you want to talk with me more about that, you can. We're going to have informational sessions. The first one is tomorrow at 1 p.m. And so there you can learn more about Creative Commons licenses. This is a QR code. I'm going to have 2 other sessions. So these are just created to let you know about the process of applying, and then also to give you a little bit more information about where to find OER materials. Sometimes they're a little bit buried on the web, not as easy to find. So we can talk about that. And then a lot of other things too. So you can check out those. Deadline to apply October 1st. So the last informational session will be toward the end of September. And what we're going to do is between October 1st, November 14th, going to have a committee to evaluate the proposals, look and see, which ones are making the biggest impact first, but then also which ones are maybe making a dent in what's out there in OER, maybe creating new material that we don't have. So November 15th is when you'd find out if you were going to receive. So OER call to action. Why I'm here is to share this information with you and to also ask you, can you please share this info with your faculty? Attend an info session. Spread the word, even if you don't want to apply. I'm using a bandwagon appeal, which is not the best as an English teacher, what I was. If you're missing out, don't miss out on this opportunity. Spread the word. And then also we need members to evaluate these proposals. So if you're interested in helping us figure out who should get the funding, you can be on a committee with us. We would love to have folks from Faculty Senate. And let me see. Questions. Woo! Yes.
Heather.
Hello, thank you so much. This is, I think, really exciting. My question is, if somebody were to apply and win or receive the grant to create our own OER textbook, who would then retain creative control over it? Would it be the creators or would it be UNM because they put money into it?
That's a great question. So if it's openly licensed, like UNM can't be like, this is ours, because it's not. So that's the awesome thing about it is they can't do that. It's open for everybody. Like you're the intellectual property owner because you create it, but no one can say, this is ours. It's everybody's.
That's great. I have a follow-up question if possible.
Sure.
If a textbook has already been created, OER, but it's getting expensive to maintain, would this grant be applicable to something like this, or would it have to be something completely new?
No, so that's a great question. I'm putting some links in the chat too for these materials. So I'm like, what would be the scenario? You want to adopt the book and bring it into your class and
We've already created an OER couple of textbooks for students, recognizing that this is a massive problem. Textbooks are very expensive and sometimes they're just not good. But we've put
disciplines are they?
Sorry?
What disciplines are they?
Arabic. So it's teaching Arabic.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, so I totally understand that the upkeep of OER takes a lot of work. I used to do that at my old job, and it shouldn't fall onto like the shoulders of faculty. So, I mean, yeah, like I think you definitely apply to help maintain it, but also like we can't just rely on a grant program to do that kind of work. Like I think that we need to just look at our institution and how, like think about, I feel like OER should be a role, right? That is maybe there's some sort of incentive or compensation because it does take a lot of work. And so we have been talking within our OER working group and the OER steering committee about what that would look like at UNM. But in the meantime, if you wanted to apply and do some more work to that existing text, I think that you totally should.
One last question for Jennifer.
Email me if you have questions.
Thank you, Jennifer, for being here. And please do contact Jennifer through UNM Libraries. Jennifer, if you could drop your, great, thank you. Drop your email in the chat. And Jennifer, I appreciate your time and expertise. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Colleagues, next item on the agenda is the president-elect election, and I am going to take advantage of Nancy Middlebrook's kindness and hand this over to her.
So all of you should have gotten the notice that we had the call for nominations last week, and we do have one nominee that will be running for president-elect. That's Chris Elder. Your election ballot will go out tomorrow, sometime mid-morning. Please watch for it. It will close on Friday, close of business day. So I ask you please to vote when you get your survey so that we can conduct the election and have our president-elect for the year.
Any questions for Nancy? Okay, Rick, our next item is public comments. Do we have any public comments?
No.
Okay, thank you so much.
And Chris, you promised an item at the end that you were going to give an assignment.
Yes, I was just about to do that. Thank you, Nancy. So, before I move on to item number 13, I'm asking faculty senators if you could please, before our next faculty senate meeting in September, to go back to your programs, departments, to your colleagues that you represent here in the Senate, and ask them what are the issues that they're most concerned about at this time? What are issues that they would like to see the Faculty Senate take up? And then in our September meeting, we will be meeting in breakout groups to discuss those issues and reporting back. We'll be using a shared document so that we can identify those various items, et cetera, et cetera. So that will be part of our agenda for next meeting. Of course you love it, Laura, because like me, you're a pedagogue. Everybody else is gonna hate it. Just kidding. Oh, absolutely, John. Yes. We definitely, of course, want to hear from all our colleagues, everyone that we represent. Yes, I knew you meant campus and not CAMU, so. I appreciate you all being here. Last item on our agenda is to adjourn. Do we have any dissenters? Hearing none, I adjourn the meeting at 4:52 p.m. Thank you all for your patience with me and my first shot at facilitating this meeting.